10 years ago, Lupe Fiasco released Tetsuo Youth, an album that pushed the boundaries of modern rap and solidified Lupe as one of the most creative writers in the history of hip-hop. This is his magnum opus. It is filled with themes and concepts that are rich with depth and begging to be deciphered by his diehard fans. This album was not for anyone other than Lupe and his true fans, the people who appreciate his art the most. In fact, this album almost never was released at all if it wasn't for his fans. His label at the time had shelved the record, and it wasn't until the super hacker group Anonymous stepped in and forced the label to make a move that the album was able to be released. Tetsuo Youth is a product of one of hip-hop's greatest minds, and its existence is a shining example of how hip-hop fans crave something more with their music. This album belongs in a museum. It is something to revere now and for future generations, and an abstraction of the act of aging. It is separated into sections by seasonal interludes, starting with summer, hearing kids play outside, with the innocence of youth and freedom echoing beneath their cheers. Then fall has that feeling of innocence slipping away. The kids are still playing, but the knowledge that winter is approaching stains the sounds of laughter. Winter is barren, with no sounds of children at all. That innocence has been lost, stripped away by the cold world. And spring is a return to form, completing the full journey of life through the hardships of winter and ready to play again. The title is a reference to Lupe's favorite anime, H.E.R. The character of Tetsuo is the main antagonist of the film, with his arc revolving around what happens when an innocent youth is corrupted by forces beyond their control. The cover art, which was painted by Lupe himself, is named Uomo Mangiato Tigre in Italian, which roughly translates as man-eating tiger. His art is intentionally abstract. Man-eating tiger can be read in two ways: man, eating tiger, which represents man at his most ambitious, devouring the societal obstacles put before him, or it can be simply taken as man-eating tiger, which represents the other side of that, when the predator of modern society and life devours you at your most helpless. The painting itself is prime for interpretation. On first viewing, it may seem like simple shapes and colors, but each piece of this painting is intentional. The skull represents the mortality of man. The red background is his blood, the light tone above it is his skin, and the white lines on the right are his bones. The thick blue line represents his soul, and the orange line represents the tiger, cutting through the skin into his blood, but unable to penetrate his soul. Lupe has mentioned that the small gray section at the bottom is the gray matter of the brain, and the silver-colored field in the upper left represents technology. On opposite sides of the painting, they frame the brutal reality of natural selection, with the knowledge that there is nothing that we can do to stop it. Lupe is able to pack so much imagery into one picture, but as he says in the opening track, he prefers his pictures in word form, so you can treat every song like it's a new painting from him. That first track is called Mural, and that's exactly what it is, a larger-than-life display of his full, complete artistry. The song is 8 minutes straight of incredible lyricism. Each line is filled with more entendres than championships that the Big Three promised Miami Heat fans.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Murals are painted directly onto walls, and Lupe paints this wall in word form, describing all of the intricacies of the world he is painting with the most detailed and creative imagery possible. And just like a mural on an actual wall, this song is now a foundational piece of Lupe's career, and it will be standing for a long time. The song falls in the summer section of the album, which is more light and cheerful than the rest. Mural is followed by the pop-inspired Blur My Hands, with a message of don't worry about your haters. Dots and Lines closes summer out, with one of the most unique sounding Lupe Fiasco songs ever. It opens and closes with a banjo solo, before opening up to have Lupe rap about how religion relates to mathematics over some beautiful violins and harmonicas. The production on this album covers so many styles and feelings, giving Lou the perfect backdrop to unravel his thoughts on top of. Summer is the shortest season on the album, just as how when you were young, the summers flew by. The summer section is like summer break, a fun exploration of freedom through his songwriting. But fall is where Lupe made the work that he is most proud of. Prisoner 1 and 2 starts the season off with one of the most dense songs on the album. It's essentially two songs put together, each exploring the mind state of a prisoner. The song was made in honor of Lupe's close friend, Chili Chill, who has been incarcerated for most of his career. Prisoner 1 focuses mainly on a prisoner locked up in a penitentiary, like Chill is, and Prisoner 2 takes a different approach, focusing mainly on the prison guard who works at the jail, and is himself a prisoner trapped, but in a different way. This song has multiple different narratives threaded throughout as well, with the most prominent being that Lupe is a prisoner to his record label. And there are also numerous biblical references woven into the whole song too, just like there is with the whole album. The following song body of work is just as conceptual, even calling back to one of the most conceptual songs in hip-hop, Common's I Used to Love Her. Lupe reflects on his ever-changing relationships with hip-hop, while contemplating the skeletons that both he and her have in their closets. Hip-hop is deep within his anatomy, and even though it has been corrupted by drugs and sin, so has he. Religious themes run through this entire album, with Lupe often peppering in allusions to figures of many different religions to give this album a few millennia worth of context to learn about, and continuously get new readings from the music. Little Death takes on a more literal approach, with Nicki Jean on the hook singing as the devil, tempting you to the pleasures of sin. Each of this song's 3 verses focuses on a different issue where religious mortality intersects with governmental decision-making. Lupe and Nicki Jean have always had such great chemistry together, which is showcased here with their back-to-back collaborations, following up on Little Death with the song using car crashes as an allegory for going through a breakup. Winter is the longest section of the album, embodying the long, cold Chicago winters of his youth. The public perception of Lupe has always been that he's somewhat of a nerdy intellectual, but in reality his time growing up in Chicago made him tougher than most. Chopper is a posse cut that reflects the harder, more violent-leaning side of Lupe, a bag that he is fully capable of reaching into. The following song, Deliver, further steps into Lupe's roots in rough areas. He uses the fact that pizza men won't deliver to certain areas as the barometer for how bad a neighborhood is, which is such a clever but heartbreaking premise to frame a hard reality. The most clever part about the song is within that same hook, when he says, "Pizza man, don't come here no more." It has a double meaning. He's not only saying, "Pizza man, don't come here no more," he's also saying, "Piece of man, don't come here no more," calling out how there is no peace to be found when living in a place like this. The song Madonna and Other Mothers in the Ghetto draws parallels between the Virgin Mary and mothers doing their best to raise their children despite the obstacles of the world. You can really feel how much of himself Lupe puts into this winter section. Each song pulls from his soul and not just his brain. It's no coincidence that the song about motherhood brings in the song about birth and babies. The Adoration of the Magi is the name of many pieces of art that depict the 3 Magi approaching baby Jesus in the Nativity at his birth. On this song, Lupe sends a message to all of the youth of the world to stay pure and enjoy your youth before the world corrupts you. The hook of this song is brilliant, with Lupe referencing famous albums that have babies on the cover. Why You Ready to Die? You Just a Baby. Why Them Tears Up Under Your Eyes? You're Just a Baby. Keep Your Head Up in the Sky? You're Just a Baby. Quit Chasing Money, Never Mind. You're Just a Baby. The final song in this album is the video game themed They Reminisce Over New, which reflects us all in the video game of life, leveling up from birth to child to grown to death. And the album closes with an interlude for spring, representing the cycle starting over again, just like fallen flowers, hibernating animals, the warmth of the sun, and children returning outside to play with the freedom of their youth once again. It's been 10 whole years since this album originally was released, and its legacy has only grown since then. It's like a puzzle that fans can try to piece together for the rest of our lives, digging deeper into the meaning of each track and the art as a whole. Tetsuo Youth is not only Lupe Fiasco's best work and one of the best albums of the last decade, but it is a true modern masterpiece. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know down in the comments what is your favorite song on Tetsuo Youth. I want to give a special shout out to my patrons. We're doing something new on the Patreon this year where I am dropping every one of my main feed videos over on the Patreon a few days early, so head over to patreon.com/DefGoldblum if you want to check out our next video. Now that we've released 2 videos this year, we are officially rolling, so stay tuned, stay safe, and stay def. Thanks for watching.